Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sirhan on X, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, here in the United States. One quick thing I want to touch on because I've been asked about this. I mention United States is simply because I have international followers, and some people still don't know where Cincinnati, Ohio is. So I just wanted to get that out there. I hope everybody out there in the Twitter, Facebook, social media world is doing well. Shout out to everybody out there. I just want to touch on a few things today. Lots of copium still here in Cincinnati, but I'll get to that here in a second because I'm gonna let some people have it. First up, quick recap of Monday Night Football 2 nights ago. The Atlanta Falcons come from behind to beat the Philadelphia Eagles 22-21. For all you fantasy owners who have Bijan Robinson, good job. I mean, 90, almost 100 yards rushing, 122 altogether. He was a hip talking fantasy, especially with the acquisition of Kirk Cousins, and hopefully they can finally start to get going because Kirk Cousins looked a little better last Monday night. Not great, but better. But the Atlanta Falcons stepped up big on the defensive side, getting a fourth down stop, and of course the clutch interception by Jesse Bates, which basically sealed it. And it's a good, solid bounce back win from Atlanta after basically an offensive no-show against Pittsburgh the week before. But they have the defending Super Bowl champs coming into town Sunday night in that Atlanta Superdome with supposed to be one of the faster fields. And when you consider the speed of the receivers of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy going to Atlanta, I think it's going to be an interesting test because that speed is going to cause a little issues for Atlanta when they go over there for the Sunday night tilt. I will make my predictions tomorrow on this Week 3 matchups, and that's going to be one of them. For Philadelphia, your free falling still continues. I mean, you had the game. I won't say you had the game won, but you were pretty much doing things well. Then, of course, in the most inopportune time, of course, the inopportune drop on fourth down by all people, Saquon Barkley. He's still catching heat for it. Jalen Hurts again played good, but not great. Of course, a couple more turnovers. He already leads the league in turnovers, which has been his Achilles heel going back to the end of last season during that collapse. And the Eagles, maybe they might begin their collapse early because I said in my preview, my issue was how will they go into the season after the collapse of last season, because they were 10-1 last season after that giant Monday night win at Kansas City, when basically they won because Marquez Valdez-Scantling was performing his job description, dropping passes when it matters, and the way they acted off the field, especially their head coach Nick Sirianni. It's been a free fall ever since. 10 days after that, they had a big Sunday afternoon game against San Francisco where they were just absolutely shredded, and they basically haven't recovered much ever since. They got the win against Green Bay, but they probably lucked out because they were playing in basically questionable field conditions, and of course the injury to Jordan Love. But they weren't necessarily great there. I mean, their biggest lockout was Saquon Barkley was able to run over a Green Bay run defense, which wasn't that great to begin with the season. And of course, another issue for Philly was their lack of pressure on the quarterback in the second half, which basically allowed Kirk Cousins to start to find his groove a little bit. But maybe that Philly collapse is starting already. We'll find out probably here shortly, but it was not a good look for Philly on Monday night. So just going to wrap it up there. I will make my NFL Week 3 picks tomorrow. Cincinnati, Ohio, Bengals fans, and now Bengals and Cincinnati businesses. Really? I'm gonna. I tried to post one of them earlier, but the image was so outdated with the pixels. I'll mention it. This was Coke Sporting Goods, a well-known local sports store in Cincinnati. Actually, I know the people over there; they're good people. They have this like virtual, like a mannequin outside a store. They always do it all the time with Bengals gear, FC Cincinnati, the Reds, and whatever. It's on. If you're on X platform, you can just Google Coke Sporting Goods. Go ahead. Let's see here, so I can find it. I guess I don't have it. It's called Coke Sporting Goods, Koch Sporting Goods, and they have this moronic picture outside its business of a mannequin dressed in a referee's zebra gear, wearing a Chiefs uniform, with, of course, the copy of a flag in its hand. You guys don't know how to cook, can't you? I mean, I'm going to put this here. This is how bad a lot of these Bengals fans are. This is basically the perfect example of it. I'm not going to read this. I'm sure you guys can read it. There's a reason why I don't deal with morons like you, because you guys carry yourselves like the biggest bunch of whiny-ass clowns all over the place. Now, one thing I will give you guys this, and you are right about one thing, that the Bengals organization does care about its fans. In 2022, they partnered up with Kleenex Tissues as a proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Bengals. If you follow me on X, I posted the picture a few times. Maybe it's fitting that it does suit you well, because you guys are still having a hard time coping and still trying to talk about whatever happened on that Sunday afternoon in Kansas City. You lost because your $275 million quarterback couldn't get the job done. He had that intentional fumble that's led to the touchdown on off the recovery. That's your loss right there. You had a kicker you paid a few $1 million for. I'll admit he deserved it, but he misses an extra point, and of course, key drops by your receivers and tight ends. Congratulations. Maybe doing this is the best thing that ever happened to you, because you don't. It pretty much reveals to the world what it is you are more and more each day. You were the exact same way in 2022 after you guys lost the AFC Championship game to these guys. And basically last year, when your star quarterback got injured, that's all I needed to know. You guys still find a way to make every excuse in the book. And here you are again, 0-2, and you're still making every excuse in the book. There's a reason why I sit back day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, and just watch every other fan base, especially from Kansas City to Pittsburgh to Baltimore. Just basically give it to you guys with both barrels, and you guys damn well deserve it. Because you guys are about one of the biggest bunch of clueless idiots I've ever seen or ever been around. So I've lived with this for 40 some odd years. There's a reason why you guys are over there and I'm over here. I mean, the favorite thing to do is not talk about why you lost a game, but instead just attack fan bases like that. So you got this one here. Here's another one. I'm sure you guys can read that. I'm not going to read it out loud. I mean, the absolute disgraceful cowardice I see week in, week out. And I don't just see it, on the try to get out of this again, on the social media apps. I see it out here in person. I'm just trying to figure out why you guys can't let go, move on to Washington, because I'll tell you this, Washington is not, you guys act like Washington is going to be a walkover, but it's not. I'll make the prediction Monday night because I'll be there. The show will be live. But you don't act like what's going to happen Monday night's a given. Because you still have boatloads of issues to fix. I mean, you played better, but you have boatloads of issues to fix. But the high level of copium that's going on here with you guys, from all you moronic content creators to media people over here on the TVs and the radio stations, to all the fans that call in all over the place and post their stuff on the social media apps, running their mouths about, the NFL is rigged or whatever. Congratulations. You guys make yourselves look like fools more and more each day. If you guys legitimately think that the NFL was rigging against you guys, because you've done this a lot for the last 3 years, why don't you just shut up and take up another profession and flat out don't watch? Because if I legitimately thought any of these games are rigged, no way in hell I'm turning the TV on or I'm even paying attention to the NFL. Because I said this last week. If you legitimately think it, please prove it to me. Prove it. I'm not talking about stats, screenshots, crop videos, AI videos, whatever, all this AI stuff that's going on these days. Find me a legit conversation that took place between all the NFL, bookies or whatever that says, "Hey, we're going to screw the team over." I'm genuinely sorry. You're not going to be able to tell me that the NFL's rigged or staged or whatever. You know why you guys these flags happen? Because you can't keep your hands to yourselves. That's the problem. Maybe tell your Bengals players to keep their hands to themselves when it matters, especially your overpaid left tackle, who Kansas and Baltimore is just laughing at because you made him the highest paid left tackle in the NFL, and you guys had a Twitter party, and you guys just got scolded all over the place because of the Twitter party. Congratulations. It seemed like you guys are having redundant videos over this stuff, redundant posts over this stuff, day after day after day, week after week after week. Even all your newscasters out here, Channel 12, WKRC, WLWT, Channel 5, Fox 19, Channel 9, WCPO. Of course, the radio stations, 700 WLW, 1530 ESPN. And, of course, other morons like Kay Adams and Kelsey Conway who still want to ride the Bengals bandwagon because you two and your 9,000 layers of makeup trying to catch hooker dates want to be a part of the Bengals community. Don't try to sell me whatever it is don't try to sell me whatever it is you're trying to sell because I can't buy it. Even if it was free, I wouldn't dare buy it. Because you guys just need to find another profession right now. I mean, it seems like every day you guys make like at least 10 to 15 posts a day, 10 to 15 videos a day, screenshotting 20 to 25 different interpretations of the pass interference rule when a lot of you guys have never even played an NFL game in your life. And now you got guys like that lady right there trying to defend Jamar Chase's behavior. Here's the thing I said about this. I didn't have a problem with him being mad the first time asking for a flag. But when the referee says, "Leave me the F alone," you end it right there. I mean, he wouldn't even listen to a star quarterback because he even tried to calm Jamar Chase down, and he wouldn't listen. I mean, and you're still trying to defend it. I mean, first of all, let's get this out of the way. That's not even close to a hip tackle. There was no even horse collar. I mean, first he wanted a face mask. Obviously there was nothing there. The guy got tackled. The guy got locked up and locked down by Trent McDuffie, and he couldn't handle it. And he was looking for a way out. The only caveat out of that was he got a field goal out of it, but it was probably going to get no more than a field goal because Trent McDuffie had him locked up all over had him on lockdown. I don't want to hear about double teams or triple teams or whatever. Trent McDuffie put Jamar Chase on lockdown, and it also didn't help Jamar Chase had that hold in where he's behind the 8 ball right now again, like he was last season. But congratulations, Cincinnati. Once again, you played yourselves. I'm looking forward to tomorrow when you guys still think about something else to talk about, where you guys need to just flat out shut up and get ready for Washington, because of a familiar face named Noah Brown, who came into Cincinnati last year when he was a member of the Houston Texans and ran buck wild on you guys. I mean, you guys had basically turned him into Jerry Rice that day. And he's coming in there tomorrow. Monday, excuse me. I'll be there Monday night. I'll be there. My show will be there live. And I'm looking forward to doing my live 30-game preview live inside Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati that night. And trust me, you guys are going to like what I'm going to have to say. Because I've said this all along. I'm not going to, baby up to you guys because you want enablers to take your extreme narcissism, your pure vanity. And boy, oh boy, do I wish guys like Sigmund Freud and Isaac Newton were around with their theories because they would milk and own the behavior and the toxicity that you guys have day in and day out. So I will get to you guys Monday, simply because every day is becoming a joke. I mean, there's a reason why the rest of the rest of the fan bases in the AFC North own you guys. There's a reason why the Chiefs can say whatever you want. Let me remind you guys of this. Let me post this one up again so you guys understand this. You guys slandered for the longest time Pittsburgh fans for having Ben Roethlisberger on their roster. You guys slandered Ravens fans for having guys like Ray Rice and Ray Lewis on their roster. Now you guys are slandering Chiefs fans because they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on the roster, who continually cry for, I guess according to this, continuously cry for flags. Do you guys know every NFL player has a right to wonder why a flag was called or not? That's how the game goes. I said before, I mean, you guys are more sensitive than toilet tissue, easier to break than toothpicks. It's hilarious. So nobody. What the thing is, Mahomes. These players didn't attack officials the way Jamar Chase did that day. Your ignorance, your intentional stupidity, your blatant cowardice, week in and week out, continues to show. Boy, I can't wait to see how you guys act Monday night. I'll make this bold prediction right now. I'm sure Chiefs fans out there who follow me know where I'm about to go with this. The first flag that's thrown against Cincinnati, the whole audience in that stadium is going to boo and splurt out expletives, and they're going to take to social media and post expletives about referees the first call they get against them. I'll just make that right now. I think everybody knows it. I'm going to say it's called really a bold prediction, but anyone there that knows it's going to happen. I'll be there Monday night to witness it. Okay, that takes care of that. The next topic, I probably need to do a little more research because this is sort of big out of the NBA. One of the well-respected journalists, maybe last of a real dying breed in the journalism field, especially in the NBA world, because it's been, God knows, few of those are then. We talk about Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson in that field. Adrian Wojnarowski, well respected for the longest time, has retired from ESPN and is going to join, become the general manager of the basketball program at St. Bonaventure. Apparently he's an alum there. He has a strong relationship. But those overnight Woj bombs were simply the bomb. Some of those big trades overnight, like out of nowhere, especially when it came close to the NBA trade deadlines. My goodness, you guys were just, he was just absolutely sensational. And I'll tell you, for a network that has very little credibility, he was probably the only one in that network that had any kind of credibility left. Simply because he was the one that broke real news. We're not talking about like fake news hiding behind a television screen or whatever. I mean, legit news. He legit goes to legit sources and he backs it up constantly. I mean, very credible. We talk about those Woj bombs. I mean, there was one thing that always set the social media world on fire when he would post the Woj bomb being the big trade that very little to nobody expects from. It involves marquee players in the NBA. Biggest one, of course, was the trade he broke with Paul George from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Los Angeles Clippers a few years ago. Sort of a size of, I wouldn't say it's a big loss for the NBA community. I think good for Woj because he gets a chance to go home and take on a new challenge. I think he has a right because of how he conducts himself in the journalism. I think Adrian Wojnarowski, I think, is going to do a good job over there at St. Bonaventure, especially when you consider he's going back home. In terms of journalism, he's probably the last of a dying breed, simply because you don't see guys like that credible anymore in basically the journalism field, especially these days where fake, fake news is dominant and fact checkers come out of nowhere. So, salute to Adrian Wojnarowski. You were great for the NBA community for the longest time. Good luck in your next adventure. You're going to be successful. Now to an historical night that took place in the sport of boxing. But this one's still talked about exactly 25 years later. I almost want to say for the wrong reasons, but I don't know. Today is the 25-year anniversary of Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. Just like last week when I talked about Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns, the parallels of Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad basically paralleled. De La Hoya was basically like the Ray Leonard in this case, the Olympic gold medalist, multi-division world champ, the young fighter with the golden boy looks. Trinidad was more like the Hearns, a more naturally bigger guy coming out of Puerto Rico. Undefeated world champion. They both were world champions. And basically now when the belts are just not credible anymore. This is talked about for many reasons. Maybe the biggest one is the hotly disputed decision that took place in the end. It's always going to be hotly disputed. 25 years later, it still is. Probably 25 years later, after today, is going to be still hotly talked about. Who really won the fight? The first night. The first half of the fight, it was De La Hoya basically giving Trinidad a virtual boxing lesson, if you want to call it that. As the fight went on, maybe you can argue Trinidad started coming on a little bit. Of course, what didn't help Oscar De La Hoya's cause in this fight was the advice of his trainer, then trainer Robert Alcazar, telling Oscar De La Hoya to basically just kill the clock the last 3 rounds. He has a fight won. When Felix Trinidad, who was promoted by Don King, and we know how Don King boxing was, a walking disgrace that was Don King boxing. And once again, Don King boxing just felt the need to get involved again. But we're not going to discuss Don King boxing because I can have an episode for that to show what type of a disgrace Don King boxing was at that point. But to this fight, maybe the argument could be because De La Hoya lost the last 3 rounds, basically gave it away. Maybe the judges were swayed by that to give rounds to Trinidad when he basically did nothing. I don't say he didn't do anything, but it didn't help that De La Hoya just ran around in circles, didn't even bother throwing much punches. Of course, in 2003, it was 2003, I believe, HBO had its own series called Legendary Nights that documented this, and they had the 3 judges trying to explain why they scored the fight they did, because some of the rounds they scored in that fight were very, very questionable at best. Yeah, I'll acknowledge. Some rounds they gave to De La Hoya when Trinidad won. Some rounds they gave to Trinidad that De La Hoya won. And of course, the last 3 rounds, as I said, De La Hoya decided to coast. That's why they always say in boxing, you don't leave it to the judges. It's the same way, of course, in the MMA world. The same thing there. That's why you take care of business, like you should. I mean, but then again, let me remind people before I divulge more into this. This is the same Oscar De La Hoya who many people felt got 2 gift wrap decisions, one in 97 against Pernell Whitaker and one in 98 versus Ike Quartey. But both were close fights that I thought could have gone either way, but I don't think they were robberies. But I thought Whitaker won the De La Hoya fight, and I thought the Quartey De La Hoya fight was a draw. But again, both disputed also, could have gone either way. But to add on to this, the question still remains later, why was there no rematch? Well, first of all, nobody wanted to deal with Don King at the time because the perception was Don King altered and fixed fights to benefit him and his fighters. And of course, there was, the power play struggle, between the promoters, Don King for Trinidad and Bob Arum for De La Hoya, who had King and Arum had like one of those love-hate relationships. One minute they liked each other, next minute they hated each other. And of course, Trinidad eventually moved up to 54, and then eventually to 160. And De La Hoya eventually took that route eventually, but later on down the line, he decided to stay at 147. He did everything he could to chase a rematch with Trinidad, but never materialized. Of course, there's the issue. Of course, I didn't know this till remember this to the interview after the fight when he approached, being Felix Trinidad approached Oscar De La Hoya talking about his value. I guess he wanted a more even share. I mean, I remember what the purse bids were, but I guess Felix Trinidad felt shorted a little bit because Don of how it is because Oscar De La Hoya. Well, it makes sense. Oscar De La Hoya is more of the A side, as they would say in the sport. But even in the Trinidad wanted more of the A sides, money or billing that goes with it. Which I understand because he was a official winner of that fight. If I ever had to make a list of the 10 rematches in boxing history that never happened but should have, it'd be up there. Of course, there's as I said, more than likely the business aspect of it because it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. All my boxing followers, even the casuals out here who don't even know how the business side of this works, maybe you guys need to look at yourself a little bit because in boxing, fights don't get made in a snap. This one, people were calling for this fight since the day De La Hoya went up to fight Pernell Whitaker in '97, and it basically took 2.5 years before it finally got made. I said, issues with the power play promoters, the managers, whatever it is. The event was actually the event itself, just the event had high billing. Actually sold well. One of the better gates south of the heavyweight division at the time. The fight itself was just a dud. I mean, I thought maybe it'd be more give and take between the two, but De La Hoya, I guess, found the need and wanted to give a bit of a boxing lesson and box circles around Trinidad because that was his moment. But the event fight itself, it was a good fight, but not one that would catch your imagination. The event building and build up was built beautifully. The fight itself was just a wet fart. I mean, what more can you say about that? So that was that 25 years ago today. There's been some historic fights in that division. I don't think this one's going to put up there. It was more like an historic event, but not a fight. So, that's my boxing historical perspective. I won't divulge into the card last weekend because I said last week, any of those fights that go past 6 rounds, that card was trash. My point proven. None of those fights on that Vegas card should have gone past 6 rounds. It is pathetic. It is inexcusable. It is uncalled for. Every winner on that card should be ashamed of themselves. They didn't take care of business the right way. All you had to do is get them out of there in less than 6 rounds. Plain and simple. Of course, big card this weekend. I'm going to divulge into it tomorrow on my boxing show, the Jam and Stern on Boxing Hour on YouTube. Of course, the big one is in England, Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois. I'll give my prediction on that one there. To my English followers overseas, Denny. Let's see some more Tyler Denny. Give you a story, especially here in the States for this one. This is a boxer who at one point was a plumber. I mean, he was a real life plumber and basically decided to take up boxing over in London. Let's back up here. The fighter's name is Tyler Denny. You might want to Google it. Very interesting story. He was a plumber and decided to go into boxing. And basically, he's basically an underdog for every fight. I think it's going to be one against Saturday, I believe. And he's basically beaten the odds so far. He's won every fight. Remember, I said this guy just went from being a plumber to a fighter and just basically been undefeated, 17-0. And one of the more intriguing life stories when it comes to our sport, because actually one of the more feel-good stories. And when you look at it, you just want to say, "Wow." I mean, to go from a plumber to a fighter and be undefeated when every fight of yours you're an underdog, you are absolutely doing something right. I've become a quick fan of his. I'm going to probably watching him. Actually, Joshua Dubois is one of my first interest. He's my second because he's an interesting story. All you guys worldwide, even if you're not a fight fan, I encourage you to read about Tyler Denny. I mean, one of the more wonderful stories for him to basically be an everyday, just a real life everyday plumber, to basically become a boxer, actually be successful so far. I believe he won one of those British Commonwealth titles over there. Don't hold me to it. I'll ask my cohort tomorrow. But he is an intriguing story, and you don't have to watch the guy fight, but at least read the story. You would absolutely be entertained and like it. So I look forward to talking about that and that card over in England tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow I'll be having my NFL Week 3 picks. I have a couple surprises in here because now we start to see some things established a little bit after the third week. I will not, for you Cincinnati out there, I will not give my Washington-Cincinnati pick because I will be at that game. I'll give it live at the game. So don't even try it with me. But I will give my picks tomorrow. I've also, of course, some more sports-related topics. I'll probably talk some UFC because we can probably say goodbye to Sean O'Malley because thank goodness his bogus title reign is over. I mean, he basically looked pathetic last week. I'll talk about that a little bit, and many other sports things. But until then, this is a wrap up of the 13th episode of Sirhan on X. I look forward to talking with you guys soon, chatting it up with you guys soon on all the social media platforms. And I'm going to post this on here. See where's that ticker at? And I guess I got rid of it. See where's it? I'm going to give you my banner here so I can find it. Here it is. Here's my platforms as I'm speaking. I don't like to do this. I'm not a salesman or a marketer. I'm just an analyst and a talker. So, I admit I tried sales once in my career. I flopped, so I'll never sell again. But there's all the platforms you can follow me on. I look forward to being back on here tomorrow with another episode of Sirhan on X with various topics to talk about. Until then, have yourselves a blessed, wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. God bless. And I look forward to chatting it up with you guys soon.